Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. We are back in the Psychology of Eating podcast, and today I am here with Holly. Welcome, Holly.
Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm so glad you're here. And this is essentially your time. And one of the ways to really make it your time is for me to ask you if you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted when it comes to food and body, your relationship with food, whatever it is that you feel challenged by, what would your magic wish be?
Ooh, um, my magic wish would be to eliminate the cravings that I have for foods that I know don't serve my body well,
Mm-hmm.
um, and to just stop constantly thinking about food and obsessing about food.
What kind of cravings do you have?
Oh, I'm a carb lover, so I want all the breads, all the chips. I'm not so much a sweets person, but I like snacky food. Chips and salsa are like my weakness. So, um, yeah. So it's the carbs.
Uh-huh. How long has that been sort of a love, a craving, a desire for you?
I think my whole life, as long as I can remember, even being a child.
And when do you find yourself particularly craving those at any particular times during the day? Is it random?
Yeah, I would say it's random, and it's not every day or all the time. Um, but I do notice it more in times where I'm seeing success in some areas of my life or things are going well. That tends to be when I want to eat more, which I think is a little bit different from most people. I feel like most people want to eat when they're sad or depressed or things aren't going well. But when things are going well for me is when I want to eat.
Interesting. So you've noticed that.
Yes.
So things are going well. I'm liking my life, and bring on the carbs.
Yeah. It's usually when I'm doing well at work, everything's good at home, I'm exercising, I am eating what I consider to be well. That's when I feel like, okay, now I can, maybe it's kind of like releasing control. Like, okay, now I can kind of cut loose or indulge or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you aren't in the best of times, when things are more rough, things are more challenging, what do you do? How do you regulate yourself? Some people turn to emotional eating. Some people, I don't know, go to music. Some people just spend their time online. Some people go shop. Like, how do you deal with when things do feel difficult?
I think you hit it there with shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Shopping and napping. I turn inward, so I like to shop by myself, or kind of like lock myself in my office and get lost in a project or take a nap or something.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. So, how old are you?
I'm 41. I just turned 41.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Married, kids?
I am married. My husband and I will be celebrating our 5-year anniversary this New Year's Eve. But we've been together 15 years and we have two children. They're 6 and 9.
Wow. And you're working. What's your career?
I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, and I work at a local gym with clients, and I also have a podcast on nutrition. So,
Fun.
yeah,
Yay. Yay, yay, yay. How long you been doing that?
about 2 years now.
Wow. What inspired you?
After I became pregnant or had my first son, I kind of went down the rabbit hole of finding a natural way of living. I took a more natural and holistic path. I got really immersed in that culture, and through meeting people and leading a nonprofit group I was leading, I kept meeting mothers and families who found a lot of healing in nutrition. They came with a lot of health problems, and nutrition was the common denominator in a lot of people finding healing in whatever was bothering them. And I've just felt like if I could be a part of that healing journey of helping people understand that nutrition really is foundational, um, I would like to. And so I quit my corporate job, an executive assistant for a lot of years, and I quit that, went back to school to do nutrition.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not easy to career shift.
It's not. I had a very supportive husband.
Yeah, that's so great. That's so helpful.
Yeah.
Not easy to career shift, but oftentimes it's profound to do so. Obviously life changing. So remind me how old your kids are again?
6 and 9.
6 and 9. And do you want to lose weight?
I do.
How much?
About 30 pounds.
You want to lose 30
I'm my
pounds?
heaviest now that I've ever been. Yeah.
Got it. And so if you lost 30 pounds, you would be at what weight?
About 130.
Well, when was the last time you were at 130?
Shortly after I had my son, after I had my second son. So it was probably about 4 years ago.
4 years ago. And how do you think you arrived at that weight?
I did not get there healthfully. After the birth of my second son, I had some autoimmune problems, and I went from, I think I was almost 200 pounds when I was pregnant with him, to losing weight very rapidly. So he was born in September, and by February I was like down to about 130
Wow.
then. But it was a lot of muscle mass that I lost. Like my skin was loose, and like I've always been athletic and played sports, and so I have a lot of muscle, and I didn't have any. So it wasn't from being healthy that I lost all that weight.
hmm What did you weigh when you were about 28 or 29 years old?
Um, I was probably around 135.
hmm And just give me a sense in general in life around your physical activity.
I grew up playing soccer. Um, I played soccer all through high school and past high school up until I was pregnant with my first son when I was 30. Um, I had periods of time in my life where I was like a so called gym rat, where I would go to the gym regularly, um, daily. I took Pilates classes in college. So I've always been kind of fit and active.
Got it. Got it. So, why do you think at this point you have the weight that you have on your body? What do you tell yourself? I have this extra weight because,
There's something wrong with me.
yeah, yeah.
I I have it in my mind that there's something wrong with me, either physiologically, like I or genetically, maybe my thyroid's not working, or I tell myself there's something wrong. My liver is not working or something, but I have yet to find any of those things.
Got it. Have you had any kind of medical testing?
I have.
What
I
kind?
have. I had some diagnostic ultrasounds done for my thyroid where they did find some nodules, but then blood testing after that did not lead to anything of concern. So that kind of went underway. And then just like regular physical testing and blood testing, where um, just I have diabetes in my family, so we've been monitoring my blood sugar. I'm currently wearing a continual glucose monitoring device, not prescribed by my doctor, but just for you can get them now online.
Yeah.
So just for my own data, where I do see some elevated glucose levels, but um, I'm not diabetic or anything.
Got it. So, how many meals a day do you eat?
Full meals.
Mm, Okay, great question. Yes, full meals.
Um, 2 to 3.
And how many times might you snack?
If I eat 3 meals, I don't snack. If I only have 2 meals, usually it's lunch that I skip, and that's like a collection of snacks.
Got
But I
it.
don't graze all day. I don't snack a lot.
So typically, what time is breakfast?
About 6:30 or 7.
What's an average breakfast?
I do scrambled eggs with bell peppers or spinach, sometimes sausage or bacon in there. If I'm in a hurry or short on time, I'll do like a protein shake with a half a banana, or I'll use like riced cauliflower to get that same consistency, but without the sugar.
Got it. And then, so there's your breakfast. And
Hmm.
when's usually the next time you'll eat?
I usually eat between 11:30 and 1.
And that we call lunch.
Yes.
And what might a lunch look like?
Lunch is all over the board. Sometimes it's just eating leftovers off my kids' plates. Sometimes it's driving through somewhere. So we do fast food sometimes on busy days. Sometimes it's just picking up like a pre-made salad at Trader Joe's, or a lot of times I eat leftovers from dinner the night before.
Got it. And then next time you eat after that lunchish?
Is usually dinner time, and depending on kids' sports, we'll have dinner around anywhere between 5 and 7 p.m.
And you're cooking?
Yes, or
And
we'll
what
go out to eat. We haven't been going out to eat as much lately since there's not places to go.
and how do you so how do you feel about the meals that you eat just relative to the food amount
I
that
don't think I eat enough,
hmm
and I can tell because it's usually at dinner where I will eat more. So dinner is usually my bigger meal, and probably because I'm not eating enough during the day, so I'm usually starving at dinner time.
starving at dinner time, that's helpful. And are you hungry after dinner?
No.
Okay. Would you consider yourself a fast eater, a moderate eater, a slow eater?
Um, I have times where I'm a slow eater, but I am guilty of multitasking while eating. So
Sure.
I don't wouldn't say I'm fast, but I'm like an absent eater. So I'm not present when I'm eating.
Understood. Understood. Okay. Um, how many times a week would you say you weigh yourself?
Um 0 to maybe once a week. If I'm doing sometimes I'll do like a new program, like start a new exercise program or get really strict on my diet, and then I'll weigh myself once a week, but I haven't weighed myself in several weeks.
Mhm. And what's it like for you thinking to yourself, I want to lose 30 pounds, and here you are helping people with food and nutrition? That must be strange.
It is. Um, I definitely have some negative thought patterns that go through my mind. I tell myself no one wants to take nutrition advice from an overweight girl. Sometimes I feel like a fraud, even though I'm very good at helping my clients, and my clients reach their goals and have success. I wonder, why can't I do it for myself? Like, why can't I take my own advice?
Hmm. So the majority of the people that you work with, are they interested in weight loss?
Yes,
Mhm. How long does the average person work with you?
12 weeks.
Mhm. So it's a specific amount.
Yes.
Yes, I see. Okay. So yeah, you could feel a little guilty or feel like a fraud, but it seems like you do have some success with your clients.
Yes.
Okay. And how does your husband feel about your weight?
I don't think he cares.
Mhm. Are you close with your parents?
Not really. I mean, yes, it's they're strained relationships, I guess.
Uh-huh. Where's your mom?
She's in Colorado.
Oh, right, right, right. So, how would you describe your mom's relationship with food and body?
Um, Probably a little bit of a roller coaster. Her weight has gone up and down a lot throughout life. Um, I remember her being very thin and also very big. It's always kind of fluctuated, but for the last 20 years or so, she's been heavy.
Does she complain? Does she diet? Does she talk about it? Does she ask you questions?
I wouldn't say she complains. She does mention it once in a while. She's been having some health issues, and so she's had to lose some weight. She and I both did like the Atkins diet years ago. Um, and she was very successful. I was really successful on it. And so I know she's back doing that again, to lose some weight for some health issues that she's having.
Hmm. And if you could sum up in one sentence, what do you think is the thing that doesn't quite make the relationship work between you and your mom that makes it a little strained?
Well, she left when I was 3, so I've never lived with her. So she's just never really fully been in the picture.
Wow,
So we're just not super close.
understood. Is she trying to be close with you now?
Yes. Yeah. We're definitely working on mending that relationship.
Hmm. So, who was the woman in your life?
My dad he remarried when I was in kindergarten, and then they divorced before I started junior high, and then he remarried when I started high school, and he's been with that wife ever since.
Got it. So, you've had a few kind of mamas coming in and out of your life.
Yes.
How's that for you when you think about that?
Um, I'm very blessed with the wife my dad has now. Um, when she came when I was in high school, like it was the perfect timing. She's a wonderful woman, incredibly nurturing and supportive.
Mm.
Um, and so I don't know. I don't really. I think the hardest part was the mom that was there in my younger years and the way she left. It was a really nasty divorce, and she wasn't
You're
very kind.
you're talking about your biological mom
No,
or
my middle mom, my second mom.
right. Got it.
Yeah,
Got
I
it.
don't remember my mom leaving. I was too young.
Mhm. What does your mom tell you
About
about that part of her life?
we don't talk about it.
Yeah. So tell me again, your two kids, one's a boy, one's a girl?
They're both boys.
Both boys. Right. Fascinating. How's their relationship with food?
Great. They're not picky eaters. They don't overeat. If they're playing, they don't want to stop playing to eat. Um, I haven't noticed anything that I would be concerned about, except my little one does have a sweet tooth. So
Mhm.
he's the one that always wants candy or sugar or something, which we don't normally have in the house.
If you think back, can you remember at all roughly when you first noticed that I like, certain kind of snack foods? I like, the crunchy carb snack foods. You
For
can remember?
myself,
Yes.
yes, it was probably around third grade, third or fourth grade, and um, I was thin as a child up until about that point, and I remember my parents taking me to like a nutritionist or a doctor of some sort that was asking me about food, and holding up pictures of food and asking me what I thought of them, like what my reaction was. And I very specifically remember like the doctor holding up a picture of cake and me like rubbing my tummy and like going. So remember that.
In third grade, that was your second mom.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, for you, you mentioned when I asked you if you could wave your magic wand and get what you want, you mentioned stop obsessing about food. What does obsessing about food mean for you? Like, how does that show up for you? Like, what goes
I
on?
feel like I'm thinking about food all the time. Not necessarily in the way that I want to eat, like I just want to be eating all the time, but I'm always thinking about what I could be doing differently with my food to lose weight or to get to where I need to be. I'm always thinking about different diets, even though I don't necessarily subscribe to any kind of diet philosophy, but I'm just always thinking about what I should be doing, what I should be eating, what I shouldn't be eating.
Yes, 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 yes. Makes perfect sense. Okay. I have some thoughts based on our conversation. And I personally just love the idea of us, you, me, people who choose to get into areas, professions, careers where we're helping others, um, even though that helping others is part of our own journey. It's the best person to help a drug addict or a recovering drug addict is somebody who's been there,
Right.
quite honestly. Best person to help somebody with an eating challenge is somebody who understands what it's like to have an eating challenge of various kinds. So I for one really love the fact that you're in the nutrition profession and you're helping people, even though right now the pieces aren't fitting perfectly together for you. The picture isn't what you want it to be. Like the ideal picture would be Holly weighs 130 pounds and comes into the gym and tells people what to do. And you feel good about yourself, and they feel seemingly good listening to you because it looks like you know what you're saying and doing, and life is good. So so I think that's very reasonable to that's a reasonable wish. And at the same time, what I'm noticing um, is that life gives us some very interesting challenges sometimes, some very unexpected challenges. And it's a very interesting if you think about it, to be in this kind of profession that you're in, to be helping people with food and helping people lose weight, and it's in a fitness setting. And here, all of a sudden, you are the person who's doing that, and you're not happy with where your own body is at. So, right now, the way I'm imagining or guessing that you're dealing with that based on what you've said is you think to yourself, okay, well, that's not a good situation. So I need to solve this problem nutritionally or health wise. And that makes perfect sense. That's first thing I would do. First thing I would do if I was in your shoes, I'd go, damn, what kind of diet do I need to follow to shapeshift my body? And then I'd say, is there anything wrong with my body based on what I know is possible with my body? What's going on with it? So, yeah, let me get a bunch of tests. Let me get the right tests. Let me look in the right places. And it sounds to me like you've done that so far. Sounds to me like you've really asked the questions. Okay, well, what diet do I need to do to tweak this body? Or what medical tests do I need to have to see, oh, that's what's wrong. Let me fix that. So to me, you are doing what I would personally consider the correct logical chain of events to help you get where you want to go. I'd do the same thing if I was in your shoes. And I'm noticing that right now, those strategies aren't really working for you so far. So there's two conclusions that I think a human could make at this point. A human could say, you could say, well, I have yet to find the right diet, or I have yet to find the right thing that's wrong with me. So if I just keep looking for the right diet and keep on the medical track, I'll eventually discover the thing that's wrong with me. So that's one possible way to go. And the other possible way to go is that, maybe it's neither of those. Maybe it's not behind door number one, and there's a different door to look behind. So I'm more interested right now in what door number two can be for you. That's what's catching my attention. I I literally don't know, nor do you, nor does anybody right now know, is there something organically, metabolically wrong with you such that this weight doesn't come off? Quite frankly, what I'm going to say is, eesh, a good 90% of the time, when I've worked with human beings with weight loss, if they are weight loss resistance and it is physiochemically related, it's usually thyroid issue or some type of insulin challenge. It's usually one of those two. Might there be other things? Sure, but it's usually one of those two. You have a relatively healthy diet. Yeah, you might eat a little junk food here and there. That's not going to kill you. That's not going to put on a bunch of weight. That's really not going to be the cause of weight gain. So to me personally, you've eliminated two of the most important medical factors that can lead to unwanted weight gain or weight loss resistance. Nutritionally, it sounds like you've tried different diets. The main, and just me asking you questions about your diet, yeah, I could sit down and tweak your diet and say, yeah, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. I don't think that tweaking the food on your plate, and this is just my experience having done this a long time, I don't know that tweaking the food on your plate right now is going to get you where you want to go. Oh, let me do tweaking the food on your plate means, okay, high protein, low protein, Atkins, this, that, paleo, intermittent fasting, whatever. Um, I don't necessarily know that that's going to do it for you. If I had to bet money, I'd say no. And again, that doesn't mean you can't be doing certain things different that puts you in a better part of the probability curve, but I don't think the net gain is going to be big enough for what you want. Um, so a lot of times what I'm looking at is I want to look at what the big picture is for you and work in some places that maybe you haven't worked in yet that actually might move the needle. And let me tell you what I'm talking about. The one thing I know for sure is that there's a large subset of people who get to the point where they're not losing weight and they tried a lot of things and it's not coming off. And what happens is, in that group of people who've tried a lot, they're smart, they know things, they're earnest. What happens is there's a certain kind of stress that gets built up, and there's an obsession that gets built up because your mind wants to fix it. So when you say to me, I want to stop obsessing about food, what I hear you saying is, it's tiring for me to have my mind constantly trying to figure out what the hell to do so I can get where I want to go. That's what's tiring for you. So that we can actually work with very easy. That's one place we could actually work with that can actually yield benefit. And here is what I mean. I would love to see you take at least 2 months and stop trying to solve your weight through manipulation of diet or through discovery of medical issues. Like, take a little vacation.
Okay.
Always come back to it. It's always there. You could always come back to paleo or intermittent fasting, whatever you want to do. So I'm just saying, let's take a break from that, because when you and I get into obsessive thinking, we don't think very well. It's literally thinking in a stress response. Thinking in a stress response is good when a lion is chasing you. You'll make smart, quick decisions. Thinking in a stress response doesn't help you make overall good, wise, long term choices about your life. So, right now, what I see is happening is that there's a part of you that's locked into a stress response. I am always looking, when it comes to weight loss, my fundamental commandment, if I had 10 commandments of weight loss, one of those commandments would be, you know, let's look at letting go of self-chosen stressors, because stress equals excess insulin, excess cortisol, which for about 90% of people will then translate excess insulin, excess cortisol secreted day in, day out is going to lead to weight gain, inability to lose weight, fat storage, inability to build muscle. It leads to appetite deregulation. So when we're in stress, our appetite is not clear. It doesn't know what it's doing. X number of people, when they're under stress, they eat more. X number of people, a small number of people, 10, 15%, when they're under stress, tend to eat a lot less. So I just want to see what it's like to put you on a vacation from worrying about solving this, because you have the rest of your life to solve this. And right now, you're not solving it the way you want to solve it. So we give it a break. We just call a timeout. And in a lot of ways, what's going to happen is the kinds of foods that you like to crave. You say that, I go for these foods when I'm feeling good, certain foods. It sounded like you said crunchy foods, more crunchy snack foods as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the sweet foods.
Mm-hmm.
Um, here's my Let me offer you some thoughts about that. On the one hand, on a deeper level, crunch is stress relief. Anytime you crunch, you're actually releasing stress. Crunch by itself is very pleasurable. Look at some people, some people chew gum, like sitting there chewing gum. They're actually relieving stress. They're making their jaw move quite a bit. Stress can get locked in the jaw. So I think a part of the crunchy food for you that you eat, came from early childhood. You said you noticed that around age like third grade.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably a coping mechanism that you developed to just kind of relieve stress. Crunch is a powerful stress reliever. There are every big potato chip company, every big chip company, they literally have scientific apparatus where they are able to measure the perceived level of crunch in decibels in your head when you eat the chip, and they determine amongst people, here's the most pleasurable level of crunch sound.
Wow.
So it's a science. So crunch is a science, and there's a pleasure slash stress relief to that crunching. There's an old psychological term from, I think, in the 1940s, psychologists called it dental aggression, and so you learned at a young age, as we all do, that different foods make us feel better. For a lot of your friends, it was sweets. For you, it was crunch. Crunch worked for you. Maybe salty was just more appealing for you, but that's what hit the sweet spot for you. So in your adult life now, so I'm calling that a childhood strategy. I'm also calling it a habit. You just that's a habit, something you learn to do. And habits become automatic and they become repetitive. You don't have to think to do it. It just kind of does itself. And then all of a sudden here you are, you're having this craving. So I'm actually imagining that the craving is a stress relief. I think you said something to the effect of, well, things are going good and maybe I sabotage myself. Um, I want to reframe that. And the reframe is everybody has a certain level, a certain temperature of how much goodies they can receive. On my birthday, what I like is to go out with one or two friends and maybe get one or two gifts and go out to dinner, and I'm good. If somebody throws a party for me and there's 20 people and they're all giving me gifts, I freak. It's literally too much for me. I can't handle it. So I have a certain temperature in terms of how much I can let in on that level. That's just me. There's nothing wrong with it. That's just we each have our own threshold for how much pain we can endure and for how much goodies we can endure. So what I'm suggesting to you is I would love for you to start to explore in your life in places other than food, nothing to do with food and body. Where are the places in life that you can welcome in and accept more goodness? And especially when it does come your way. So if somebody compliments you, your job is to accept the compliment.
Okay.
Oh, you look so pretty today. I wish I was 10 pounds lighter. That's not accepting the compliment. So part of it is you really learning to accept what's coming your way. And that's what actually increases our success temperature,
Okay.
is to begin to take in the things that are already in your life anyway, that's feeling good, that we tend to not notice. So, one of the questions I asked you before, how does your partner feel about your body? You smiled, and he's not judging you like you're judging you.
Right.
So he's not going, yeah, I'm not going to talk to you until you lose 30 pounds. I don't want to sleep with you until you lose 30 pounds. So it's you learning in the partnership where there's already love and there's already pleasure and there's already a certain amount of success in that way. How do I take in more? How do I take in more touch? How do I take in more massage? How do I take in more physical love? How do I take in more intimacy? Like that would truly be such a good practice, because right now what I think is happening is your body's at a certain weight and it's not acceptable to you. So because it's not acceptable to you, what the mind does is, I'm not acceptable to me. And what the mind will also do is that the goodies that are coming into my environment, I'm not going to notice them so much because I'm focused on what's not acceptable to me, which is me and my body and my weight. So what's happening is it's getting so much airtime that it's not allowing you to do what I think life is asking you to do. So I look at eating challenges as teachers, as a great teacher.
Mhm.
I look at eating challenges as God is talking to you through that challenge. Your guardian angel is talking to you through that challenge and is trying to teach you something, generally, something that has almost nothing to do with food. So, this is all about you learning how to, with this body, accept all the goodies and start letting life in and start being grateful for everything you have. Be great to do like a gratitude journal for you
Mhm.
every night. Everything that you're grateful for, persons, places, things, thoughts, feelings, kids, people, experiences that you have, and even what you're grateful for about your body. Because right now you're so focused on trying to figure out how to solve your body that that focus doesn't allow the thing that you're actually wanting. So I think you could definitely shapeshift your body, but this time you have to do it in a different way. You're not going to do it by running around a soccer field every day. You're a different age, a different life stage. So it's all about listening to kind of what's life teaching me right now.
Mhm.
On the one hand, having to counsel people around weight when you're not happy with your own weight asks us to be more humble, just more humble, and asks us to be more confident in a strange way. Yeah, I help people. Not able to help myself with this right now, but you know something? My weight's gone up and down, and I'm working on it, and that's part of my journey. And you know something? I understand the weight journey as good as anybody because it's a part of my experience.
Right.
And none of us are perfect. And guess what? You're going to lose weight, Mr. and Mrs. Klein, and at some point you might gain it. And then come back and see me and we'll figure it out. So it's understanding that there's no destination. Like, yeah, there's a goal, lose the weight, but it's a journey. And the journey keeps kind of moving wherever it moves. Um, there's one nutrition tweak I want to mention for you. Whenever you reach the point where you can say to yourself, man, I'm starving. Wow, I'm ravenous. That says to me that you weren't nourishing yourself previously. And why would your body reach its rightful natural weight if we're not nourishing it in a rightful natural way? So
Yep.
part of it is letting go of calories and not thinking of calories. That's a hard one for people. Not thinking of food amount. People think calories in, calories out with weight loss. No, not at all. It's old science. It's antiquated. It doesn't work anymore.
Right.
So anytime you're ravenous, that says to me, and you acknowledge it's not necessarily that you're a fast eater, but you can be an absent eater. So your job to get where you want to go, if you want to have your most natural weight, then become your most natural self in relationship with food. And your most natural self in relationship with food, you feed the body when it is hungry, when it needs to be fed. You notice it, you watch it, you attend to it, you don't abandon it. That would be no different than if you were walking around with your kid all day and you didn't notice that they were hungry or you
Right.
didn't notice that their shoes weren't tied. That's not going to help them. So it's you at how old again?
41.
41?
41.
41, yeah. So 40, I'll say one more thing and then keep quiet for a moment. So I consider age 40 as well as people who study life cycles and age cycles, age 40 is a very powerful transition where a woman goes from being more in her youthful princess stage to woman stage. The girl in you is no longer sitting at the head of the table. It's the time when the woman in you has to sit at the head of the table. So 40 to 50, I call queen in training period. You're learning how to be a queen. In your teens, your 20s, your 30s, you were in the princess, and princess doesn't mean that's not an insult word. It's just the young stage of the feminine archetype where we look for acceptance from the outside. Where, what do I have to do for you to love me? What do I have to do to be acceptable? What do I have to do so I'm okay in your eyes? And you're transitioning out of that still a little bit. So your job is to actually get comfortable in this body that you have right now in order to shapeshift it. Is no different than if I bring somebody into the gym and they want to learn how to exercise and they want to learn how to weight lift. You got to get in your body. Like just take off the headphones, get present, listen. Here's how you pick up the weights. Here's how you do it. Here's how you breathe. Here's the movement. Here's the technique. You got to get in your body in order to change it. I don't care how big that person's body is. You want to get somebody fit with exercise, you're literally telling them, here's how you get into your body in a physical way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want you to do in a general way, is to get into this body, feed it, nourish it, don't go absent on it. So slow eating for me, when it comes to you, means present, aware, receiving pleasure, and for a couple of months let eating mean just feeding myself, nourishing myself, caring for myself. Focus on caring for yourself as opposed to eating to determine what's wrong with me so I can fix myself. Because if you're broken, then you're not going to be happy. if
Right.
if that's the thought, you're not broken. Your body just weighs more than you want it to weigh. It's all that's happening right now. That says nothing about you as a person, like nothing. We don't know why the body does this stuff. Nobody knows. Okay, maybe they find something wrong with your thyroid. Maybe they find diabetes. But if we don't find things, then weight loss is a mystery. And sometimes we just have to roll with that mystery and do the things that we know we can do to move the needle. So the things I'm suggesting to you, I think can really move the needle for you.
Okay.
But it's just something very different than how you've been approaching it. So
It
how's all
is.
this landing for you? I'm throwing a lot out there.
Um, it it's resonating. I think coming from a place of gratitude, like you mentioned, and focusing on thanking my body every day for the things it can do, um, and looking at other areas of my life that are blessings and being thankful for them, it'll shift me out of this mode of just focusing on what's wrong and turning off that internal dialogue where I'm constantly telling myself there's something wrong with me or asking my body what's wrong with you. um, I think it will definitely relieve some of the stress that you're talking about, because it is very stressful, like being caught in that phase of I don't know what's wrong with me, why can't I fix this, why aren't things working. That is very stressful. So that resonated with me. So to be able to let go of that and just relax,
Mhm.
um, and trust that my body is working just fine. I just need to give it what it needs. And that means nurturing it with foods that make my body feel good. Um, yeah,
And
makes
stop
sense.
placing demands on your body. Because right now, the wish for weight loss almost becomes a demand. It becomes a conditional love. It's
Right.
like saying to one of your sons, you know something, I'm going to love you if you grow 2 more inches and have a little bit more muscle. But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to constantly try to change you and I'm not exactly going to love you and accept you.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like to your body. That's how your body's feeling when you're saying to your body, here's my conditions on loving you. So when we're not feeling love, when you're not feeling love, when I'm not feeling love, when the body's not feeling love, it's going to contract.
Right.
It's not going to expand into its potential. Um, so that's why taking a couple of months and just, I'm not trying to change my body. I'm not trying to change my husband. I'm not trying to change my kids. I'm just loving them for who they are
Yeah.
and watch what they need and pay attention and see what the moment is calling for. So you do that for you, and I think you're going to start to learn some interesting things about yourself. You're going to have some interesting insights, perhaps, that you might not expect. I also wanted to say I'm a big believer in just sort of the synchronicity of things in our life and how everything is connected. So it sounded to me like this is a time when you and your biological mother are making efforts to get closer. And so hold that thought for a second.
Okay.
I want to suggest that in my experience, a woman's relationship with her body often, not always, but often tracks her relationship with her mother. So your mother, the being you came out of, your same-sex parent, that's who you model after. She's a woman, you're a woman. That's who you're going to model after. That's who you're going to absorb who you are, how I should be in the world. So from an early age, that biological mother wasn't there for you. So she was gone. And that's going to make it harder for a young child to model after a female. It's just going to make it harder. And that can lead to, and I've seen this, it can lead to, if the relationship with mother is on shaky ground, the relationship with body is on shaky ground.
Interesting.
If the relationship with mother is like this and that, then body and weight goes like this and that. And there's a place where I've seen this where the two are the same. So, speaking this in the positive, the more you're able to make peace with your biological mother, whatever that means for you, the more you're going to ground yourself in your body, and your body will then discover more of its own natural potential.
Okay.
Because what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to feel good in your body, you're wanting to own your body, you're wanting to feel, yes, I'm here, this feels right, I know how to take care of myself. And the women in your world didn't always, that wasn't always a smooth sailing ship for you. So it doesn't surprise me that now that you're recontacting more or deepening with your biological mother, this is also at a time when we're having a conversation like this, where I'm raising my hand and I'm saying from my end that I think this is a time for you to step into your womanhood more. So you're not the soccer player anymore. She's fine, she's great, that was a wonderful part of your life. but the way you are going to manage your body from now until forever is the way a woman manages her body. And the way a woman manages her body is with more love, more nourishment, more kindness, more acceptance, more authority. This is my body. I own it. I'm going to take care of it. I'm not going to curse it. I'm going to bless it. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to pay attention to it. Teenagers ignore things. Teenagers don't pay attention to things.
Right.
40-year-olds, we got to be on the ball.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Any other thoughts you want to share about what we've talked about?
No, this is good. And realizing that as I step into my womanhood, I don't need to focus on or put that pressure on my body or draw my self-worth or my value on how I look. So I think
that's a big one. And it's really on who you are and who you be and how you care for yourself. And that's the way to create more true ownership of the body. Then you're really owning the body. And from that place, what I've noticed is then the body is more easily shaped because we're in it.
Mm-hmm.
We're loving it. We're treating it the right way. So it can flourish more.
Yeah.
I think you can do this.
I think so too. It feels right. And already I feel less stressed.
That's a good sign. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Holly, I really appreciate the conversation with you.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
really
Me
do.
too.
Yeah, thanks for being so honest. Thanks for jumping in. And I have no doubt that your clients will continue to receive great benefit from you. And I really believe that this part of your journey that we're talking about right now is going to enable you to add more value to your clients because you really get them, you really understand them, and you understand that sometimes it's not just about, calories and macros, and that there's more going on.
Right.
So I feel good for you and feel good for your clients.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Me
You
too.
feel complete?
I do. I feel great.
All right. So I'm going to say, let's finish up. Thank you so much, Holly. And thanks everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. You've been in the Psychology of Eating podcast. Lots more to come, my friends. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of the Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care. And remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.